Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the ITS Connect session for the month of August. My name is Jennifer Laudiana. I am the Education and Training Specialist for Information Technology Services. And today we're going to talk about what we call new to Crew. For those of you who have been here, I put a poll out there. There are quite a few people that have been here a long time. But in the last few years, we've actually published a booklet, which looks like this. I don't know if any of you have seen it before. We have actually 4 of them, one for undergraduate students. So all the new students that just came in the last couple of weeks have received those. One is for new graduate and professional students. And then we also have a book for faculty and one for staff. So when brand new staff come to HR orientation or faculty, they do receive a hard copy because it does have information in there for how to get your ID and kind of get started in IT. And then it's a good guide for them to have the first few weeks on campus. Looking through it, they can get more information. I'm going to cover some of the general information that's in all of these books. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about some of the things that we've worked on through the summer, just kind of give you a few highlights. And then books and the information at the end is available online. So if you miss something or if you want to actually see the full booklet, you can actually go online and view that. And I'll give you that information as well. So it looks like we have quite a variety now. It looks like a few people are brand new. Welcome to Case Western. And then a few people are been here over 30 years. So congratulations. And then it looks like we have a mixture of faculty and staff and a few others as well. So I hope that this session is helpful and that you find some good information that you did not know or that is clarified for you. I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation. These sessions are offered each month towards the end of the month, usually the 3rd or 4th week of the month. So if you want to look for them, we advertise them on our Facebook page. We also advertise them on Twitter, and then in the Case Daily, you'll see them. If you get the ITS newsletter, you will see them advertised there as well. So if you want to know what the topic is or what the date is, you can always look in those resources as well. So I talked about the booklets, and again, if you have new staff in your department that maybe didn't get one, they are available online on the ITS website, case.edu/ITS. There's a little button that says New to Crew, and if you click on that, you will see all of them. They are also linked on the bottom left menu. It'll say Students, Staff, and Faculty. If you click those, on the right side of each of those pages, there is a link to the New to Crew booklets as well. So there's a couple of places you can find them. If someone is new and they've misplaced their booklet, they can go online if they want to print one or if they want to save it as a PDF and have it with them, they can. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is security items. We cannot stress enough a couple of things about security. One of them is changing your password. We've had a lot of phishing. You'll see on the screen, there's a sample email. This is what you will get from IT when your password is getting ready to expire. You should get one around 14 days, and I think you get one around 10, 7, and it sends it to you until you change your password, and then you will stop getting those. But once it expires, then your password is expired and you'll have to go in and change it anyway. But just so you get an idea, we don't send you a link to go fill out any personal information. This kind of links to phishing. Lately, we've had a lot of phishing attacks telling people we need more information about your account. Your account's been canceled. Please go here, and they ask you for your name, your birth date, all kinds of personal information. We don't need any of that. We just want you to go into help.case.edu and click Change Password under the quick links and follow that path. That's all we're going to ask you to do when it comes time to change your password. You can reset your password at any time. You do need to have your security question answer, so make sure that those are also secure and that you have made answers that people cannot guess. So maybe include characters in your answer, mixed text or something, so they're not very easy to type and someone could guess the answer if they knew you very well. Physical security, just wanted to make a note. If you are a person who roams around campus a lot, has meetings, is in the library, if you have students or faculty, you may want to make sure that you invest in a cable lock, or if you're in an area that might have a lot of cubicles or in a research lab, you want to make sure that you can secure your laptop. Otherwise, you feel like you have to take it everywhere you go. So you can invest in a cable lock. I talked a little bit about phishing, and I'm going to actually show you some phishing emails here. Hopefully you can read those. But these are two that were posted recently on our Facebook page, and often if it's a large attack, we will post them so people realize that they are not from us and that it is a phishing attack, just so that you have it for a reference as well. So we do not ask a lot of these questions. Follow the link below, fill in the required data. You may notice also that the link on one of them is web-login.jimdo.com. Well, that's obviously is not a CASE web address. Ours would be case.edu, cru.edu. So be very careful. And sometimes they won't spell it out. If you hover over it, you can see what the link is if you are concerned. But most of the time, if you even have a second glance, you can contact the service desk. They can let you know if it's phishing, or I would just delete it. If you receive it again or someone tells you they've sent you the email, then you can address it because you'll know who it is from. So just a word to the wise. Another topic we talk about with new students, staff, and faculty on campus is just general security of information security, restricted information. A lot of things can get emailed, or you can leave voicemail messages. Make sure that they don't have information like Social Security numbers, people's names and birth dates and personal information mixed together, and things like that. Credit card numbers, credit card information, passwords for things that they don't need access to. Make sure that do not have restricted information like that in any kind of emails. HR information and details are not meant to be sent through email as well. Acceptable use policy. Since many of you have been here for quite a few years, just a reminder to you that every time you log into the network, whether it is for HCM, whether you're logging into Blackboard, Adobe Connect today, you're always agreeing that you have read and understand the acceptable use policy that we have here on campus. If you would like to reread the policy or take a look at it, we do have a link at the bottom of the slides is the link to all of our policies, and one of them is the acceptable use policy. It's just things to keep in mind. Only use what you have access to use. Also make sure that you are protecting restricted information, which I talked about a few minutes ago. Also make sure that you're not using the network for any kind of commercial purposes. Just be careful that you're using the network for work and Case Western Reserve related use. But if you'd like to read the full policy again as a refresher, you can. Also a policy that came out in 2010, so some of you may remember it, some of you might need a refresher, or if you're brand new, it is called the Identity Finder policy. And Identity Finder is a software package that we have that you need to download onto your computer. There's a version for Mac, Windows. And what it will do is you can start it up and it will search your computer for files that have Social Security numbers or credit card numbers or numbers that look like that in your files. And what will happen then at the end, it will bring up a list of those files so that you can take a look at them. And there are about 3 or 4 different things you can do with them. You can save them as is, which we don't recommend. You can put them in a locked file with a password. You can delete them and destroy them. So that's up to you what you need to do with the files. That is recommended that you run that on your computer at least 3 times a year. So once a semester, spring, summer, fall, just to make sure that everything you know is on your computer and that you don't have any documents that need to be secured. I just wanted to mention a few things. The HIPAA, people hear the word HIPAA a lot, so I wanted to tell you what it actually means. It's the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. And this has to do with personal records with your medical provider as well as electronic records. And you can look up the full description of the act, and then also there's a link from our policy page to this. But if you are working on campus, anywhere where you're working with patients, this is in effect. So make sure if you're working, for example, in the dental school, I know they have patients, make sure that you are following all the HIPAA rules. And one of the things to be sure is no email provider is compliant with HIPAA, so make sure that when you are sending email, if it is related to records, that you are following the correct standards for that. Another guideline is FERPA. This is in regards to students, the Federal Educational Rights and Privacy Act, and this is regards to who can view and see student records. So if you are working with student records as well, the registrar's office can help you if you need further help with that rule, but just keep that in mind. And lastly is our Social Security number policy. Over the last quite a while, I believe, few years, a lot of institutions have gone away from looking at your Social Security number and they've replaced it with an ID number. In our case, both students and faculty and staff all have a 7-digit, what we call employee ID number or student ID number, and it's 7 digits, and that is what you can use instead. There are still a few things you might need your Social Security number for, federal documents, but most of the time you will be asked for your employee ID number. And that's what that number is. If you have questions on when you can ask for Social Security numbers or use them, please see our Social Security number policy on the policies page. And again, at the bottom of the slide, if you want to make a note, also it's in the booklets as well, or if you go to case.edu/ITS, there's a section on policies. And all of these are there that you can take a look at, or they link out to the large policies available for HIPAA and FERPA, for example. So now we talked a little bit about information, we talked about email, phishing, passwords, a couple of things regarding your software and hardware, data backup. So we do offer data backup service through Carbonite. You do have to purchase it, so your department can purchase Carbonite, and that is a service that will back up your computer regularly. It puts a little icon on there, and whenever you're on the internet, it will actually back it up, and it's secure. You can restore from there. You can get files from there. So if for any reason you're out of a computer, you can actually go to the Carbonite site and work off of that if you want to download files somewhere else or take a look at what was there. Data encryption. If you have data that you need encrypted, we offer something called IronKey, which you can purchase through procurement. And this is for less than 4 gigabytes of data, and it's a secure USB drive that you can use to encrypt data that you need. So it's very helpful if you are transporting information that it needs to be encrypted. You can get one of these IronKeys and use that. And lastly is the peer-to-peer applications. And in each booklet, we have a section on this. I listed a couple of the services, LimeWire, BitTorrent, and these are people that share files back and forth, and it's something you need to be aware of with copyright issues. Also, if you're sharing in general videos, movies, MP3 files, anything that someone else has done, make sure that if you're sharing it, it's legally shared and that you are following copyright rules. If you are sharing it in a way that you need to publish something, make sure you get the right copyright so that you can make sure that it's shared correctly and that the person who created the piece of material is okay with you using that, however you're going to use it. And the last section we do talk about a lot is the FBI and the anti-piracy. So copying things like videos, music, things like that. The FBI does meet with us regularly, and if they see anything come through, we do have to provide them with information. So if they give us IP addresses, we need to tell them where they came from and whose they are. So keep that in mind if you are sharing files. Just make sure that they're being shared legitimately. And again, there's a lot more information about that in the booklet, so if you want to go back and read more on those policies. So just a quick, this is more of a tip. Everybody has a desk phone, or if you don't, you may have voicemail somewhere. We use voice over IP phones, and what they do is they are over the network. When someone calls you, they can leave a message, and that message is taken and converted into what is a .wav file, WAV, and that file is emailed to you. So your phone account and your email account are kind of linked together. One thing also is that voicemail message is on your phone inbox. So you actually have two separate places that voicemail message resides. And I mention that because what you need to do, if you delete it in your email box, so you've called the person back, you've answered the message, and you've deleted it, please remember that it's still sitting on your phone. So you may want to make a note to yourself every so often to go in and delete any messages that are in your voicemail box. Make sure that you've attended to them all. Also, there is an option that you can purge. So when you delete them, you can also purge, which is another step, which means it just wipes them out altogether. There's no way to get them back. They're just gone, which also will clean out your box. So if maybe once a year you want to go through and say, okay, I want to just purge all my deleted messages, you can do that. And all of the instructions on setting up your voicemail, using voicemail, purging, deleting, any of that information is available at help.case.edu. If you search voicemail in the search, it's the first article that comes up and it walks you through all those steps. Also, you can get instructions on accessing your voicemail from off campus, for how to forward your phone. A lot of information like that is available at help.case.edu. So you might not be aware, but we offer a lot of discounts on software and computers and phones. I've listed 2 addresses. Our software center offers discounted software to faculty, staff, and students at various levels of licensing. One of the items is our antivirus software, which is Symantec Endpoint Protection. So if you didn't know this, you can have that and use that free of charge at work and at home. So if you have a home computer and the virus software expired, or if you have a trial and you want to get virus software, feel free to download it from the Software Center. We want to make sure that all computers coming into the network do have some kind of virus and malware protection on them. Many of the software packages offered on the Software Center do have work at home or home licenses, but please read the licensing details. Some of them require that if you are using a work at home license, that you are only using it for work. So you can't use it to help your children with their school papers or run your business. Also, they do require, I believe on most of them, that when you terminate employment here, that you need to delete the software. So when you are downloading it, please make sure that you read that first page that walks through all the licensing, and then on the bottom it actually has the requirements. So just make sure that you have the correct version of Mac or OS or Windows and all of that, and that way you won't have any issues with downloading. The eStore is where you can get some discounts on computers and phones. You can take a look there. Currently, we have Dell and Apple. I believe there are AT&T and Sprint phones. I'm not sure if there's others, but you can look there, see what they have, what the discounts are for faculty, staff, and students. One thing about some of the computers, the best prices are for the computers that are built that already are preloaded with items on them, software packages and things like that. So if you vary from that, the price might be a little bit different. So keep that in mind, but we do offer that to all faculty, staff, and students. Another thing is training. I know a lot of you have heard about lynda.com. Well, lynda.com is actually expanded, and there are a few things I wanted to bring to your attention. One of the things is you can now have playlists. So if you want to go in, very similar to a Netflix or a movie site, if you have an account with one of those where you make a list of all the movies that you want to look at, you can make a list of the videos that you want to watch later. So if you have a few minutes and you want to go through and say, hey, there's one on Adobe Photoshop, I want to watch this one on Adobe InDesign, I want to watch this one on Microsoft Excel, you can actually put those in your playlist. So when you have more time, you can go back in and you can already have the list of what you were planning to watch, which is a really nice service from Lynda. Also, you can share them. So you can share playlists, you can share videos, or the videos themselves. So if you have one video called Adobe Photoshop and someone you think would you want to recommend it, you can actually share the link, or you can email that person. And one nice thing is the links actually differentiate. So if you want to send it to someone, a colleague, maybe at another university, you can actually send that link to that person and they will be able to view it as well. Same with playlists. So if you had 2 or 3 videos you thought someone would benefit from, you can send it there. If the person is from CWRU, you can actually send that, and that's a little bit different link that you can send. But when you open it up to share or email, it'll give you 2 options there, which I think is really nice, because then we can expand upon our license that we have. And then lastly, if you do watch full videos, go through the exercises and complete them, you will be able to see a list of all of the videos you've completed and print a certificate of completion. So that is nice if you want to keep track of those things, what you've actually completed. You can look at that list and see what you have and then print the certificates. I know we have a gentleman on campus who has completed over 300 videos on lynda.com. He's watched, I believe, all of the Adobe suite. So that's kind of interesting that he knows a lot about that now. Also, through IT, we have the CAPS program, which is a program for financial management for faculty and staff on campus. And we have a website for that is listed there. This is mostly financial courses. So if you're purchasing, doing any kind of financial reporting, travel, anything like that you're administering in the department for financial use in campus. Also, part of it has a lot of sponsored projects courses, so fundamentals of sponsored projects, proposal writing, grants, how to administer those, how to close a project, and things like that. So take a look at that if that's something that you are interested in. This last year, we actually launched a new site for video conferencing, and you may not be aware of all of the options we have for video conferencing. A couple just right off the top, Adobe Connect, which we are using now, which you can use to hold a class. I know in the nursing school they use it quite frequently to hold long-distance courses. Google Hangouts is a way that you can meet with others. I believe you can have up to 9 people. So it's a really good ad hoc video conferencing. So if you just need to set up a quick meeting and some people are on and off campus, you can all meet in a Hangout and talk about it. Telepresence rooms, we have actually expanded the number of rooms that we have this last year. And there's a list of all of the rooms that have any kind of video conferencing in them on the website. And it lists what kind of video conferencing. It also tells you who owns the room so that if you want to reserve it, you can call them and make a reservation. Additionally, on the site are the videos and guides. So we've started making instructional videos and things so that you can learn how to use the telepresence and video conferencing technologies. Just a quick note, we do have pages dedicated to this in all of the booklets on research and research computing. We do offer visualization on our research computing staff. I listed the 2 programs they support here. Also, we offer services for data storage. So if you are doing a research project or you know someone who is and they need space to store their information so they can do their research, we do offer that as a service. Database hosting, design, and programming. We use Apex, which is a web-based database. So you can get with us. We can help you work with that and learn how to use it. And this is helpful because a lot of times you might have it on your computer, but as your research gets bigger, you really need more space and you need a better way of storing the data. We also offer pre-award consultation. So if you're applying for an award and you want to include the costs or the items associated with this, you can actually get help on what you need to include and what we can offer. We also offer research networking for any kind of high bandwidth work that you are doing. Academic technologies, we offer iTunes U. You can have youtube.com/case. You can also have a YouTube channel of your own if you log in. So if you want to specifically create a YouTube channel for a class, you can do that. Blackboard Learn, CourseSmart, which is a textbook service. Second Life we do offer. I know a lot of the nursing school uses that for practical use in order to have students understand how to meet with patients. They might use Second Life as well. Adobe Connect, which we're using today. A couple at the bottom there. Active Collaboration Room, that was set up last year, and it's in room 215 in the Kelvin Smith Library, and it actually has a telepresence unit. It has a smart board, projector, microphones. It's a very robust room on half, and then the other half actually is set up as a regular classroom that you can use with a projector podium, and then you can move the chairs and tables around. So it's a nice space if you want to use that. We have technology-enhanced classrooms, which are rooms that have projectors and podiums that allow you to use computers, laptops. Some of them have document cameras. There are different levels of TECs, so when you look up on the rooms list that is out there on the web, you can see which level they are on. Lastly, MediaVision courseware. This is what we use to film classes often. So if you go into a classroom, a large lecture, they might film it and then they will put it into MediaVision courseware, which students and faculty can get through Blackboard Learn. They can see the finished videos. Just some other systems to note. We do manage the HCM, which is our HR system, Human Capital Management, PeopleSoft Financials, the Student Information System, which is SIS, Google Apps for Education. Not only do we have email and calendar, but there are about 35 more apps that you can use. Launchpad.case.edu, which is the intranet, which you can also use that on your mobile device using m.case.edu, which is nice, especially for the campus directory and some of the maps. They're easily viewed on your mobile phone. So I mentioned I would talk about a few things that are new, so you may not have heard about them or you may not have seen them. We do have a list called Back to School Stories on our website at case.edu/ITS, and I'm just highlighting a few, but we do have a 2-page list of all of the things that have been accomplished if you're interested in reading that. We have installed 2 active learning classrooms. One is in Mather and one is in Nord. These rooms have all kinds of interactive technology, smart boards, whiteboard type walls so that students can write on the wall and erase. They also have interactive technology so students can work in groups and then take all of the things that they're learning and put it up on the instructor's computer. But there were 12 faculty fellows this summer who actually worked with our staff in redesigning their classes so that they could use all of this new equipment and the new opportunities in these active learning spaces. Case Wireless has a new way to link up. It's a little bit easier for you if you go to wireless-setup.case.edu. It will actually detect your operating system, so if you're on a phone or if you're on a Mac or PC, and it will actually walk you through the installation and you're good. So that's a new service. Google Apps, we've done some updates. Read receipts. Some of you may want to know, did somebody read or open my email? You can now, when you compose an email on the bottom right, you can click a little down arrow and say read receipt. And when the person opens that email, you'll get an email back that tells you who opened it and what date and time. Google Plus Hangouts have been expanded. In your chat on the left side of your email, you'll be able to, or you might see a pop-up that says, do you want to go to the new Hangouts? That will eventually replace the chat, so you may want to look at that. And we've launched Google Groups. If you go to groups.case.edu, you can start a Google group. And so all that information and instructions on using any of these things are on help.case.edu. We also added more TEC rooms, the technology enhanced classrooms around campus as well. The Adobe Master Collection has moved up to version 6, CS6, and it is offered to faculty, staff, and students for $59 a year, and that's the full collection. So if you were to buy just Photoshop, I think that runs about $300 in the store by itself. Imagine if you were to buy all 11 Adobe products, it would probably be thousands, so $59 isn't too bad. We launched our MOOCs last year. If you remember, we had 2 MOOCs that were launched. They had 120,000 students in both MOOCs and from over 188 countries. We will be launching some more MOOCs this fall. I think they are repeating those 2 MOOCs, so if you're interested on that, you can find out more information. We have developed some iPad apps that are in our iTunes store. New students were able to pre-register their devices, their computers and gaming devices before moving in. And then the CAPS program actually expanded and now has 2 more classes online. So we have 3 total online through the CAPS program. So I'm about out of time. If you have any questions, you can email us at help@case.edu. or you can go and look at help.case.edu or give the service desk a call. There are 2 locations I mentioned. If you go to case.edu/ITS and click on the New to Crew button across the top, there's 4 big squares. That will take you to the electronic versions of the booklets that I mentioned that we have. And then also I mentioned the back to school stories, and those are also available on our ITS website, and the link is listed on the screen, but it's case.edu/ITS/back-to-school/stories.html. So we're out of time for today. Thank you for attending, and we hope to see you next month. Thank you.